Hey there, here we are once again with the what was supposed to be step by step as we proceed through making a bespoke kilt. But I've kind of fast forwarded from the last episode because I couldn't call on my videographer and the guy's kilt needs to get done. So when we last spoke, and what I will do is at some point in the future, because I have at least two more kilts in this same set to do within the next couple of months. And for some aspects of it, I think I might use a tartan with a little more contrast to show the work a little bit better. But when last we spoke, we had done a forward fitting. I had basted down because I hadn't sewn the seam of the apron yet. So we had from the first pleat, the cloth had just sort of running off. So I fitted it to them, basted down the first pleat because for reasons best known to somebody else, we often have a bit of a problem with the first pleat, sometimes also the last pleat, particularly on box pleat kilts, which this is not, but possibly because of the apron, that the first pleat sometimes can get a bit wonky and it can flip up. So what I did was, again, found where I wanted to hang, basted it down, and then measured out from there. And having measured it, and I'll show this in a later video, which I'll post earlier in the series. Having measured it, I determined how wide the apron was to be, and then carried on. So, and some of this has already been in other videos, and when I find them, I'll post the link. So we've elected for single tongue buckles with brown straps, hand-cut brown straps, and they're sewn into the seam rather than sewn on the back because this makes everything lie flatter. And if you take a look, because I was using the waist bit of cloth from the top, part of that served to supply the top band for the kilt, but it also provided the material for the tabs. And if you can see, attention to detail here, we make it as close as possible to the background. We're not always able to do this, but we're able to do this time. So the buckle is properly set back from the buttonhole, because if it's too close, it's going to cause problems. The right hip buckle this can be a problem to fit, because if you use your measuring tape, often it seems to be far too far back, and I'm not sure why. It's a case where the numbers don't coincide with reality. Now, what I had done was, again, I had measured it to the body, but the trick that I found that works is I make the right hip buckle the same distance in from the apron as the left hip buckle. So this one is the leading edge of the buckle, in this case, comes to this element of the tartan, the transition between green and black. So I've done the same thing here, transition between green and black. And you'll notice looking down in it that it's a bit skew. It's a little bit high on this side. That's deliberate, because with this fellow's figure, with the front apron, we want a slight upward tension on the front apron. So I've skewed that a little bit. My next stage, I'm going to be pulling these bastings out, and you can see I've set the inner strap where we marked it. I'm very happy to finally found a source for black linen thread, like proper real linen, not synthetic. It took me forever to find this source, and frankly, it was right in front of me the whole time. So in previous kilts, and possibly in future kilts, if this supply ever dries up, I had been using heavy white linen thread. I've switched to black now. Yippee. Although the white was sort of becoming my trademark, wasn't it? So I've got one more thing to do before I knock off today. Now, you'll see there's a turn back here. This is the front apron. And this has been turned up and basted and pressed. My next stage is I'll take out the basting and then very carefully sew this. It's kind of confusing to see, isn't it? Along the turnover. And the reason for this is, do you remember how we put in the steeking? And one of the features, one of the properties, or one of the responsibilities of the steeking was to prevent a sort of sawtooth effect at the bottom. Well, because of the shaping of the front apron, we often get the apron pleat sticking out a little bit. So by folding it back, pressing it, and then sewing it down, we've taken that out of the picture. So I'm going to do that, then I'm going to knock off for the day, and then tomorrow we're going to put in the lining, and then I'm going to send the customer a call and say, hey, time to come for the final fitting, and with luck we'll get that on video as well. But so we'll get lining in, call them final fitting, happy customer going out the door, because I'm absolutely adamant again that nothing leaves the shop until both of us are happy with it. So fingers crossed that's what'll happen. Thank you.